March Madness is here, guys, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. That is $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories. You can even pick who's going to cut down the nets. I've got mine a few underdogs in the Sweet 16 at FanDuel. Makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. So we just did a topic earlier in the show about the Browns front office and main brass traveling to Miami for a workout with Cam Ward. But in the last 24 hours, the Vegas odds, which you can't bet in Ohio.
Yeah. Mike, the Guardians lineup just came out. Do you want me to read that real quick?
Sure.
I know you got this. Real quick. Quan, Ramirez, Lane Thomas, Santana, Manzardo is playing.
Wow, good.
Batting fifth at DH. John Kenzie in right field, 6th. Bo Naylor is playing, not Hedges, 7th. Gabriel Arias, 8th. Brian Rocchio, 9th. Ben Lively, starting pitcher.
I like it.
We will discuss that in length at the end of the show. But as we were saying, we talked about earlier in the show, the Browns sending a plane down to Miami for a private workout with Cam Ward. But the betting odds on who the Browns were going to take at number 2 have changed drastically even after that news came out. If you look at the books, which you can't bet in Ohio, Abdul Carter is now a minus 400 favorite to be the Browns pick at number 2. And on NFL Live yesterday, Adam Schefter may have had something to do with it. Take a listen to what Schefter said on NFL Live yesterday. Steve, I told you I have the side ready. Let's go.
Adam's probably telling me it's never going to happen, but if Abdul Carter is there at 4, that is a dream scenario for Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, Matt, it's not going to happen. Abdul Carter's going to go before the New England Patriots pick at 4. It'd be an upset right now if Abdul Carter made his way to number 4. I would handicap Abdul Carter right now as the likely pick at number 2 today. We reserve the right to change our mind. A lot of things change, but the way this is shaking out to me, fluid, it looks like he's tracking to be a Brown, and let's see how it plays out.
I mean, that's just such nonsense.
I know, but it's way too far out.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask a question about what he said.
Yeah.
So we've talked about Carter, Hunter, Sanders, Ward, whoever. Our guy Khalif Diable, who we both like, he does a great job putting out analytics. He had put out this stat in regards to Abdul Carter. He quote tweeted that tweet and said that the Browns finished number 1 in pressure rate last year and 5th in pressure rate without blitzing, 9th in quick pressure rate, despite not having a legitimate opposite edge to Myles Garrett. So the question I wanted to ask in terms of Abdul Carter, obviously he could be a great player. He's regarded as one of the top prospects. But would that just be a luxury pick for the Browns if they were to select Abdul Carter with the number 2 pick at a position that they frankly were decent at last year already when they have much bigger glaring needs and holes across the roster?
I think, to me, it's very simple. Everybody makes this complicated. Besides quarterback, you take the best player. There's no such thing as a luxury item. You take the best player. You win with great players. You win with depth of good players. You don't, outside of quarterback, you don't take a player because you think it's a bigger need at a position. If the guy's a great player, you take him. It's that simple. I don't know how good he's going to be. If the Browns are not taking a quarterback for whatever reason, then they have to draft the guy they think is better, and the position shouldn't matter, in my opinion. I really believe that. I think that's obvious, and I think teams don't do that, and it's stupid. If you draft by position, again, outside of quarterback, you are making a mistake.
What if it's a guard?
Alex Mack was a great pick when they selected him.
He wasn't 2 overall.
If the best player
he was not 2 overall.
in this case, a guard's not the best player in the draft. But if you were convinced that the best player in this draft was going to be the best guard that you've ever seen in the history of football, then I'm taking him. It's that simple. That's
Quentin
not the case
Nelson was a great pick when
it's that simple.
Drafted him.
I don't let. That's when you make mistakes, when you say, well, I don't really need a defensive lineman. I don't really need a wide receiver, so I'm not going to take him. If he's the better player, you take him. The only adjustments you make is for quarterback. That's it.
The only thing I would caution going off of last year's numbers is the NFL. We should know by now the NFL changes from year to year.
Yes,
and just because something worked one year doesn't mean just because it would look good one year doesn't mean it's going to look good this year and next year and the year after and the year after. So I wouldn't. Obviously, things like that matter, and you have to take it into account, but that wouldn't be the overriding decision for me on why I would or would not take Abdul Carter just because something worked last year.
I agree.
I would take Abdul Carter because the one thing about Abdul Carter, which people don't think about, is the fact that if you look at this defense, the reason that it fell off last year, I know Cleve TA's numbers is all those things, but we gave up a lot of stuff in the passing game last year. The secondary, outside of Denzel, just everybody else really wasn't locked in and focused. And how do you offset that? Well, you go get guys that can rush the pass, the quarterback, therefore that those routes can't get developed. The ball comes out their hand faster, you get miss some error throws, and now you make picks and things like that. So you want to be disruptive as much as you can. And I think when you look at Jim Schwartz and you look at the Eagles and all of those things, he's always wanted linemen. It's always about the D-line for him. And that's what I think, that if you get that D-line straight and you got like some dogs on the D-line, it can cover up the run game. It can cover up the pass game. So if he's a guy that's going to be a game wrecker outside of Myles Garrett, you absolutely take that pick. Now, with all that being said, I do believe that the Browns do trade up to number 1 and get Cam Ward, because I just thought about Myles Garrett saying, I know who's going to be the number 1. I know who's going to be the Browns quarterback.
He's talking out his ass.
It's Cam Ward.
He couldn't have known that.
Telling
the
you.
Browns can't even know that.
They told him. We
And
going for it.
The only reason I wouldn't take Abdul Carter is because if I'm not taking quarterback, then I'm taking Travis Hunter. I mean, it's pretty simple. Travis Hunter is a once-in-a-lifetime player. I'm not going to pass on that guy unless it's for a quarterback. That's how I see it. Abdul Carter's a one-year wonder in college. He's undersized. Now, he might be great. I don't know. I'm not an authority on it. He might be great. But there's reasons to believe he maybe won't. I don't like undersized pass rushers. It makes me nervous.
Isn't like a lot of them?
He's the same size as a lot of really, really
Yeah, I was
good
about to
passers.
Real
say,
size?
we went through this already. He was about to
his pro day
say.
and his combine stuff. He's the same size as basically Max Crosby. He's a little shorter, but the same
Really
weight.
doesn't look it. I find that hard to believe. All right. But anyway, the first point still remains. Travis Hunter may be the Shohei Ohtani of football. Everybody's so scared to do things differently. If the Browns actually have guts and they don't like the quarterback, they should take Travis Hunter and they should play him on both sides of the ball and don't be wimpy about it. Be creative and be aggressive about it. He wants to do it, do it. If it means a shorter career for him, but he gets to be legendary doing it, do it. I'm not drafting a defensive lineman when I can get a cornerback and a wide receiver in the same player. That's crazy. To me, it's quarterback or Hunter, end of conversation. I don't understand anything else.
He comes off to me as like a giant patriot. I don't know why.
Travis Hunter?
Yeah, for some odd reason, I feel like that's where he's going to end up, the Giants or the Patriots.
Oh, very well could.
Well, because you think quarterbacks are going to go 1 and 2. But if the Browns trade with the Titans ain't taking a quarterback.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, then if that's the case, then the Giants would take Shador, and then he'd end up with the Patriots.
Why would you take a defensive end over a guy who's a wide receiver and a cornerback? That's because you can't think clearly enough because everybody's convinced themselves that he can't play both in the NFL. How do we know? Nobody's really ever been given a chance.
I don't know. And I always go back to the conversation that I had with Kevin last year, when I asked him about, when they got their picks, why did they take Mike Hall and then come right back around and take Zach Zinser? And he said, well, the game's won in the trenches. So to
What
me,
else are they going to say?
I mean, that's just the thing. If they think about the trench play as very important to them, and they think that that's going to help them, because think about it, they just went and signed a guard. They're trying to get back to running the football in the trenches, and then you think about the defense, they're trying to get back to being disruptive on the D line. That's just to me what it comes off.
I wasn't here when you guys talked about them signing that guard, which was an odd signing, but I assume they're going to move him to tackle. No.
No, I don't
I don't
think
think so.
I thought he played some tackle.
He did.
He did early, then got moved inside to guard.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that.
Well, then why would you spend money on a guy to be a bench player? I don't understand unless you're going to move on from one of the other guys.
That's what
Maybe
everybody's
they're going to trade Wyatt Teller. I don't know.
That's a conversation that I think that is on to be determined. I do think that there is more to that than what appeared on the surface.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. It's weird for him. There were teams that needed starting guards. Why would he take a job
Seattle
as a backup?
and Cincinnati that have
Yeah.
open starting positions.
It's weird.
Yeah, something's weird. Last thing on the Abdul Carter note.
And by the way, if he was that good, a piss-poor team like the Bears wouldn't have let him walk. So let's not get carried away. But
very fair.
Anyway.
His injuries have been the thing that held him back mostly.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Carter fit here with the Browns, if they were to go that way at number 2, Jason, I know you said the numbers change year to year. You can never necessarily expect exact replication of being a top 5 pressure team and all that. But if they were to draft Abdul Carter and pair him up with Myles Garrett, if he is the player people think he can be, which is a big if, you never know how these prospects are going to pan out, how much would that do for the rest of the Browns defense in terms of having two guys on the edge that could generate pressure at the rate that him and Miles could?
It's huge, especially in this scheme, and that's why I think it lends credence to the idea that if they don't go quarterback, that they would look at that, because we've talked about it countless times. In Jim Schwartz's scheme, it's all about creating chaos up front. And you want to create chaos up front. Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett's a pretty good combination to do that. And covering the secondary, and linebacker is the least important position of that defense. But it all starts with those four dudes up front and creating pressure, creating chaos, wreaking havoc, and getting to the quarterback without having to dial up a number of blitzes.
And I think another thing that people are overlooking is the fact that JOK probably won't be out there this year. And that was arguably your second best playmaker on defense. You got to find a way to get some production out of somewhere else. Yes, Travis Hunter would be great, but if the Browns have come out and said that they view him as a wide receiver more than a DB, then that's only on the other side of the ball. He'll come in, he could come in every now and again, but why are you got G New if he's going to come in?
If the Browns draft Travis Hunter and don't play him on defense, I'd fire Kevin Stefanski immediately.
I'm just saying.
And get a coach that's going to play him both ways.
That's just
Barry said at the combine they look at him as a receiver.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Andrew Berry's not
so
known
like
for making good
when you
decisions.
hear stuff like that, it's just like I'm thinking about. To me, I still feel like they want to get back to having a really good defense because they seen how far it was. And, like I said, we had the conversation of whether or not that's who they are and how things change year to year. To them, they feel like defense wins championships, which it does. I don't make the rules. That's just what it is. Anyways.
That's false.
No, that's just a fact. Anyways, I think that when you look at that, you got to find a way to replace JOK. And then Abdul Carter would be absolutely the person because he can do the things. He can stand up. You can rush him. He can drop out in coverage.
Yeah.
Like all of those things is
And
something that you need.
They'll win nice 3 games last year.
That's
if
fine.
they draft Abdul Carter, they win 3 games next year.
Fine.
How many they win with
Do
Travis
the
Hunter?
Browns on paper right now? Is there a worse offense in the NFL than the Browns?
How many will they win with Travis Hunter?
4.
It is real quick.
But when they eventually get a quarterback, they'll have a great weapon for him.
This is actually important, relevant to this. But Jonathan Jones of CBS just reported that the belief is that Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter will not work out at tomorrow's Penn State Pro Day. League sources tell NFL on CBS. Carter is a potential top 3 pick in April's draft, even after tests revealed a stress reaction.
Oh, it's another reason I don't want him. I forgot about that. I don't want to go.
That's the only reason why that sort of put a flag up in my head.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. Seriously, is there a worse offense right now today than the Browns in the NFL?
Well, no, they got one quarterback.
The Tennessee Titans.
Is it worse?
Yes.
You sure?
I think.
Would you rather have Tony Pollard? Neither team has a quarterback, so we can scratch that off.
The quarterbacks are both zeros.
Tony Pollard or Jerome Ford?
Tony Pollard.
Probably Tony Pollard.
Their receivers are – they traded Hopkins. Who'd they spend money on?
They got Ridley.
Calvin Ridley.
I'd take Judy.
Traylon Burks.
I think Ridley and Judy's a wash. You want to take Judy over Ridley? I could live with that, but I think it's a wash.
Ridley back in the day before the
and
gambling.
And who's their second receiver?
They still have Traylon Burks, their first-round pick from a couple years ago.
He's done.
now.
Browns don't have a second receiver
Westbrook
either.
Akine.
He went to Miami.
He's gone.
He left.
Who's their tight end? I don't even know.
It was the guy with the weird name that was.
Okoronkwo
Oh, yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. Both of them are awful.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I'll give the Browns. I guess if I had to choose,
You just made my point.
I'd give the Browns a slight edge over the Titans. You're right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd give them a slight. Is there anybody else in that conversation? The Raiders. Who's the Raiders quarterback?
Geno
Smith.
I mean, he's serviceable.
They got Brock Bowers.
They got Brock Bowers, who's fantastic.
Yeah, that's about it.
They only have one receiver.
Jacoby
Myers. Okay.
Yeah, he's not as good as Jerry Jeudy, but he's a decent player.
Their running backs.
Wash.
Yeah, not really.
Well, they got a running back.
I don't even know.
They're not good either, but I'm taking them over the Browns because they got Geno
They have Geno, which is a
and Brock Bowers, who's in the next year or two is going to be the best tight end in the league.
Yeah.